Jack! This is personal!
Yeah, if you say so. Yeah. Yeah. Why me?
I don't know. That one looks angry.
Yes.
What was that sound?
Breathe. Courage. Do I have to? Cut them all down. Are you sure about this? What if they get me? Okay.
That one looks angry.
Yeah, if you say so.
What was that sound? Stay back.
They won't know what got 'em.
They victorly feel pain.
Yeah, yeah. Oh. Yeah, I'll get ya! What if they get me? Yeah, yeah. Running! I don't know. Do I have to? Stay away from me! Oh! Got a close out of that! Yes.
Устроим им погребальный костер.
Breathe? Yes? I only need a clipping.
раньше, чем стрела падет озимь. Победа.
Scepter!
I'm under attack! Why me? Yeah, I'm gonna cut.
Wait till they get a load of me. Yes.
I don't know. Ha! Oh, man, that's Dreg! Running! Hey!
Not yet. Okay.
Meep meep.
You're with the trees, aren't you?
Looking sharp.
powerful content and work better. So the reason I came up with this video between different GPUs and whether they're long from the GTX 1070
Устроим погребальный костер. Урок.
2080 Super and an RTX 3060, which is the newest card that
What if they get me?
But I also want to mention that my rig, my computer has a 3900X, a Ryzen 3900X, and it has my computer
I'm warning you.
power to not create a bottleneck in the processing. So any limitation in the processing time is caused by the GPU itself. So to keep it brief, I go into a little more deep detail about my methodology, but I chose a standard definition clip or 480p and converted it up to 1080p. So I ran it for all 4 cards in that regard, and I also used a 1080p video and converted it to 4K.
Do I have to? I'll cut them all down.
The RTX cards are way faster than the old GPU. I remember when I started out using the program, I was using a 1070. And I just didn't. Back then, they actually made now
Blade mayo.
see the data that there have been improvements in efficiency, but it's still a long time. It still takes a long time to process video. The efficiency processing times achieved by RTX cards. It's the data.
Вы просто золото!
Победа.
You're with the trees, aren't you? Looking sharp. Crazy sharp. Attack!
Устроим им погребальный костер.
Radiance! I'm warning. Are you sure about this? Yeah, if you say so.
Может свести с ума.
480 to version, we got, I used an 81-second clip. You can see it's a 10 minutes, a little over 10 minutes from 60 to 60. 1070 took about 9 minutes. There's a massive jump. You get to the 360 in about 3.5 minutes from 20. See, there's a big gulf.
Yeah.
RTX card. And, you know, the 6060 is too old.
Do I have to?
Around when the 20 series. They have
What did you just make?
so 480 the information that I
Я
15 minutes, 30 minutes, 15 minutes, 90 minutes, 20-minute clip or video or whatever you're doing. I think this is valuable information because from my experience and what I've noticed about using topaz is the processing is very steady. It doesn't matter if you have a very complex scene or a simple scene like mostly black. The processing time doesn't vary very much or at all. So if it's taking you between a 0.8 seconds a frame, then it's very steady. Down to 0.6.
Stay back!
To process a 15-minute clip, but it's 41 minutes and 38 minutes respectively. It might be a little the data in hours, so the 1660 to do a 15-minute clip is 1.87 hours, almost 2 hours, and when you go to 30, it's almost 4, 60, almost 8, and hopping 2 hours.
Got a buzz out of that!
Three times faster once you go to an RTX, roughly 3 times faster to use an RTX card. I also did the same chart in hours, as you can see here. So if you like more, again, more visual representation of the data, so I also
Пущу землю.
but that cut down to about 10 minutes on 3060 so that's going down to the time in hours chart down here. You can see that a 15-minute clip is going to take you about 8 hours. 2 hours for 36.
Yeah.
2 hours. Or a non-RTX card, it's impractical, I would say, to do anything over 30 minutes. I mean, you could do a 30-minute clip and yeah, you can leave it overnight, it'll take up most of the day, but still somewhat doable. But if you have access to a 3060 card, 2060 card, unfortunately I don't have data on what that would. A 2060 card, I would imagine I would say probably, I wouldn't say double, but I would say 50% more. My guess is that 2060 would give you about 6 hours to complete what a 3060 would do. I honestly thought that the bulk of the 3060 would be a little wider, but they're pretty much on par. Got the one that I had. I went on the new shuffle for about a week or so, and I kept entering to basically all the cards, and I eventually running. I wouldn't recommend getting yourself a
Wait till they get out of it.
Giving me almost the performance. It's giving me almost the performance of a 28 Super, which I paid like $70.
Вы познаете милость богов. На пути к прозрению.
I think it looks like the 3060 is a good sweet spot. Really good price, good performance for the price. Gives it $25, and you can process in 2 hours with even going from 60 if that's what you want to do. Obviously, any of these cards for like shorter clips. I mean, I think it's reasonable to process a 2-minute clip. Make a So I think these cards are definitely much more practical if you're going from 480p to tank. Pretty much 56 and 1070
I said good day, sir!
are just bearable. If you have a lot of footage,
The axe's edge will never dull!
take it to HD. Any of these cards would do great.
They're all against me! All of them!
What, 3 times? We have access.
Looking sharp.
And again, I think charts for 1080p to 2160. If you want to look at that, more visual representation of the data. And again, here's the time in hours. If you think in hours, then yeah, it's a long time. You can see the price tag for the RTX card.
Are you out?
Much
I'm
more
not ready.
reasonable if you're looking to go for
Go down! Down!
it would be frustrating, to say the least, to use these cards to do this kind of work. It's just not, it's not meant for it, it's not practical, and it's not something I would recommend. So yeah, this is basically my findings. RTX cards all the way for 1080p. If you want to stick with, the DVD quality stuff, yeah, I think any, the 1660, 1070 sound okay.
Well, if you have any questions about what I
I
just
don't need it. Something's still not sharp enough.
Пристальное внимание богов может свести с ума.
That one looks angry. Why me?
I made a YouTube video about AI for Topaz. And the first version that you did. At this point, I should come to explain that I only bought that version.
Стану промахивать друг.
Okay.
Попробуй, кто меня остановит.
And the big surprise was that I actually found the new enhance was really quite good. It had a few problems with it. Couldn't help the replay. Couldn't choose the active quality. And it
Yeah. Stay away from me.
it's changed quite a lot. The other thing that's changed a lot in the last 2 years is max. This one is a fully maxed out M1 max. I was going to do a review of it, but there's so many around already completing the point. Suffice to say,
Yes.
Убийство неизбежно.
the latest video enhanced AI is now about version 2.6, and apparently it's been tweaked to play nicely.
What if they get me? Yes. Look at me go!
AI models and options to choose from. Luckily, although there's a bewildering array of choices here, we've also got a model form so that enhancement suggested ideal settings can help describe our input video performance. Let's try that. I can choose low quality, progressive. From the video artifact. Before committing to the render. You can even preview a few seconds of the movie image. You can activate just couldn't. Now we've got suggested settings. Again, I've still got the problem footage I had before, and it needs upscaling. We'll call this medium quality interlace and use the suggested settings again. Output the progress and get it going. Already, as it's working, I can see that this is sorting out all of the interlace frames. If you you can see that enhanced is cleaning it up as it scales to H2, and all at 0.13 seconds per minute. So all the previous video enhanced AI, each of these editing workflow.
Осторожно, погрузальный костюм.
КБ.
On a shot that was cropped and you can see the difference. One before I cropped it by 300. And when we put something at 200%, comparing our improved version to this 8K, it's obvious that this is even better. I suppose it makes perfect sense. If you crop your frame for upscaling, you've got control over the level of noise reduction. Even at a
Our master, let's choose!
get enough control to change the resolution without having too much noise reduction. Or you could clean your footage up without changing the resolution. I went back through my ancient footage to find the noisiest gameplay, and I'm not proud of it. From when I was Hero 1. What came out, but the speed. It's much faster to get something close to being usable than using, say, music video, which I was before. I also tried it on actual music, where I pushed the gain up too high, and I found there's a limit to how much noise reduction you can use. But using the compare function, it's easy to see when you've overdone it. On the whole, I found Enhance is really good at reducing noise and deblocking overly compressed videos, even if you don't need to upscale. The other new trick
No, this is not happening!
is that Enhance is really good at frames, increasing the frame rate so that you can slow stuff down. It does this a lot better than the optical flow or blending method you see in Final Cut Pro. I don't know if there's any AI involved, but the slow-mo knows it's great. With a slow shot taken with a Panasonic S5 camera, you can now use Enhance to slow it down by, say, another 400%. To my eyes, it looks perfect. No weird artifacts, nothing jumpy. Nice, sharp, moving edges. So obviously I thought, let's see how far we can push it. I maybe upscale it the same as well. I set up some water prepared to a paint and shot it with my A7S III in HD at 200 frames per second. I'm pleased with the result, but let's see how much slower we can get in 8K. I like that. It's 300 frames per second at 8K. And water is probably one of the hardest things to slow-mo well. So I'm getting a bit gushing about this Video Enhance AI from Topaz. But an awful lot has happened in 2 years. I've gone from buying it just to make a silly Mickey taking video to actually using it as a normal part of my 4K editing workflow. And in 2 years, Macs have got a lot faster. We've had a pandemic, there was an attempted coup by a US president, Prince Harry left the royal family, Elon Musk has become the richest man on the planet, the US admitted to having a UFO task force, and Beirut blew up. Thanks for watching.
Всем привет!
I spread my wings!
And as the name suggests, it's going to be increasing the resolution, 240 frames per second, or simply just bringing out the details and sharpness and the things like that that really make the videos pop out and look more lifelike. And so those three things are going to be what I'm going to be focusing on today, as they're some of the more impressive things that you can do with Video Enhance AI. So first thing I'm going to talk about is details. They use that footage. It's just making what you have look even better. It doesn't even necessarily mean that your original footage is not that great or it's not blurry or anything. If you have great looking footage, and you run it through video enhanced AI, I think you're going to be really impressed.
I fly into a rage.
What you think you have is really good. It's just gets better. The way I think about it, it's like turning a lower level lights into high quality ones. So, for example, like shooting, right?
Вы пизданы, меня можете не ставить?
5.6.
Да, я проиграю.
Да не пизди.
It's a great lens.
Тебе я гоним, там ты жирнее, блядь, чем я. И плюс ты чего несешь? Давай, тогда быстрее.
Я и так что-то тяну. Тут быстрее некуда.
Согласен.
It's more like my 200 to 400. Really good at resolving those fine details. It's not about
Сам пиздец из-за дуэльки у Леги будут.
increasing the sharpness in the high contrast.
Вот сука.
Because first of all, that's
Взять Shadow Dance, проигнорить Марсман, блядь?
that look
Или, сука, взять Марсман?
favorable for videos.
Это драу хотел. Пойдет Марксман, наверное. Ну,
Да, блядь, поверь, уже была такая хуйня неоднократно, блядь.
Detail
мне выпал как-то раз маркшип, он вообще не работал.
pop out.
Так что аккуратно.
So
Иди нахуй, сука, с ним в пати, общайтесь там в дискорде, нахуй в этой игре общайтесь. Я заебался мутить, в каждой игре по 20 человек. Хуесосы ебаные, ваших матерей резал ножом, блядь. И потом этот нож доставал.
Да завали ебало нахуй, Антон, ну кинь и все, блядь.
На вашем бате, блядь, нахуй общайтесь.
Хуесос ебаный, блядь. Твоего дружка тоже мут кидать можно, блядь, или как?
Just as I envisaged.
Почему такая злая Лего?
it's fine. Other details that the ones can do.
Он
Батенька
долбоёб, что не видно, блядь.
First things first, let's look over here and you can see in the AI models there's
Кинул мут, да и все, блядь.
or all models.
Хуесос неадекватный, блядь.
What we're gonna want to do is find 40 is fine tuned, so
Боевые вещи, парни.
Ну, вы серьезно, парни, общаетесь, блядь, в игре, когда вы в пати.
usually pumped up
Так мы не в пати, блядь.
here.
Вы только здесь, по-моему, пати, блядь, это вы двое, и все. Больше здесь пати нету.
Usually just keep it on
Тут рандом челы сидят, команд.
just like up here. And what that does compared to all the others is you have
По цвету никого, блядь.
Забей в доте для бетонных.
Звезды
А ты чё выебываешься? Слава сказал?
Победа будет за нами.
turning upscaling. And then in here we can start setting
Узника 1000, блядь. Чей по ним задал?
First things first, auto detect. So what I find is that this auto detect, it doesn't look at the entire footage and then choose based on the entire
Так, ну Лего
Ебать, я сейчас так...
single frame.
Я думаю, Лего выиграет.
Shown here. So say if
Ебать, если сейчас еще до сих пор так работает, блядь, кураж нахуй с Джейнс Рекс, это пизда сейчас может быть.
focus for some reason, it's this. So you can do the auto. So I'm just gonna move up a little bit here. It's kind of looking at this.
Не тяни время.
Show the best footage. So auto adjust a little bit to
Победа во имя Бронзового легиона!
for this, there's not compression. This is, you know, straight out of the original footage.
Ну да, блядь, то, чего я боялся, теперь Марсман не падает.
Export it from here as well. And details, yep, that's what we're going to do.
Bye.
Sharpening. Noising, that's an issue. So I'm just going to turn that off, and dehaling is an issue here. And then this,
Ну, когда он мне выпадет, я
the alias,
сообщу тебе.
That's kind of means,
Спасибо.
you know, how much sharpness it's going to put back into here. It's kind of like a multiplier, I guess, of the sharpening your cover details.
Ебать ты добрый, конечно.
To pass, that's not what it does, but that's kind of what I think of it as.
Вот, не обижайся, конечно, но, блядь, купол это скилл для пидоров.
And
Не в обиду тебе.
Я взял байда, потому что я, 6 каток сыграл где-то вчера. И все время чел занимал топ-1 с кубом. Ну, то есть меня контрили каждую игру вот этим.
Ну, понятно, я понял. Ну, типа, байда, блядь, есть смысл брать, когда, если у кого-то другого будет купол, что ты в нем бегать можешь.
Конечно.
Логика в этом.
Поэтому и брал. Понял, меня задушили, все, я уже мстить буду.
как герой.
But for YouTube getting this done, that's in the 30s. You may want to do it like 15 if you're slower. But it's always a good idea to do a review and see what you're going to get out of this.
My wings extend.
Вот это... А, не, нормально.
Тишина воцарится навечно.
Details coming out and if you want to bring that out even more,
Привет. Анонимчик.
just close this out. It's going to stop the preview. And
И молнии, блядь. Серьезно?
recover details.
Я не помню, но вроде Вард бьет в куполе.
Sharpen is kind of doing pudge detail.
Как
Не-не-не,
минимум,
если это твой вард, он будет бить. Именно твои подконтрольные существа бьют.
Maybe for YouTube.
Ну это тоже как по мне. Тут нет.
Just as I envisaged.
Looking nice. So the
Ну да, пошел я нахуй. Так, реролл.
try to focus probably when I was shooting this.
Еще реролл.
Nicely recovered,
Нету, блядь. Сука.
and I'm already feeling it. This is
Ну смотри, токсин выпал, будешь кракен шел контрить, по факту уже еба.
this is
Да мне сейчас тут пизда.
see out of a more expensive.
Блядь, типа денег даже на шарт нету, блядь.
And this shooting with the 1 or 400 has the lightness, the portability.
Не кракен а бульвак. Больше именно бульвак надо контрить.
Best of both worlds. When
Это
I
да,
run
да.
things through video games they had.
Ой, мы в тебя верим.
Let's close this out and save it. Is that
Пошел.
focus and
Я говорю, верить надо.
you know, when you try to sharpen something that's not sharp, that kind of thing. But it's one thing that we're doing, figuring out what's in focus, getting details done on that, and then moving the rest alone.
Spitting
Our next
distance.
and so footage in 4K.
My flight muscles. Boom.
So it's really nice. So if you think about like how some
I glide on.
do higher frame rates in lower resolutions, so like you can do 1080p at 120 frames per second, or some cameras do 1080p at 240, but you know you don't get that 4K 240. Things of that nature. So it's really good for upscaling video.
Что это за закуп номерами?
One step ahead. So,
Что за это?
1080p
Press
is pretty good when you get to 4K.
Ого.
When you get 4K, it looks pretty good. When you
Нормально,
get to
блин.
8K.
Сразу сходу сатаник.
Я сразу не понял. Я бы бумстик, он не бумстик, а реплику и все, и тапнул микрофон.
American
Да.
years ago by now.
Блять, тут люди иногда в голову не думают, понимаешь? Они иногда, блять, покупают реплику, когда она им нахуй
Посмотри на
нужна.
Праймала, посмотри на Праймала.
Я вижу.
This was shot in 1080p.
Ну, обидно за чувака, хули.
5.
Какой нахуй самовар?
This I'm gonna do the same thing with focus. And the difference is gonna be I'm gonna go
А брат куда думался, не додумался купить, и пиздец, теперь страдает.
Только это кто?
Блять, а что за скиллы в натуре номерами, блять?
Ты вообще понял? С закрытыми глазами выбирай.
My wings extend.
понятно нахуя.
Ладно, прощаем, ему прощаем.
Призрачная мгла.
From here, we got these two options: record details and sharpen to deal with.
Даже огонем продам, чтобы подставить.
See the difference is I'm gonna bring up the split view here. Or not split view. And so we have it shows
Мы тебе 10к поставили, давай. Пошутил, там 1000 было.
so the battle. Covered, like you see how it's like kind of small in frame. It's a furry animal, and a little bit of detail, so we can bring that up definitely as we're upscaling this 1080p to 4K. So let's just like add this to 40. Sweet.
Да ладно.
Звезды встали как на...
Look how much clearer it is. And like, we're not even talking about 1080p to 1080p and we get some detail. It's like we get 1080p to 4K and it looks better. Like it's crazy. The detail is here. It's good. Programs is like the water and like all this kind of stuff. It's good. Got the snowflakes. I'm sure that's good. After the YouTube version, it's the snowflakes over here, and they're sharpened. You can actually make them out in this footage. So this is great. I don't have to do anything else in this one. So that's how easy it is to just upscale footage and make it look so much better. In a way that looks unrealistic. You know, it doesn't look like you're suddenly shooting at a really high shutter speed and making things all jittery and everything. So it does everything so well. It sharpens it, but it doesn't, you know, over sharpen the motion blur on this here. Alright, so for our next example here, we're gonna upscale it because we see the duck here, the hood merganser, is a little bit small in the frame, and I'd like to increase the size. But then after I do that, I want to also slow it down even more. So I'm gonna slow it down with double. So shot at 120 frames per second. But if I double the slow motion, I can get to 240 frames per second. And this is gonna result in being an 8K 240 frames per second piece of footage, which is pretty crazy. So the original here is 4K, and so let's go ahead and double that to 8K first, because once we get into the slow motion, which is Chronos, you'll see that you can't actually upscale it from here, so you have to do one and then the other. So we're going to do the upscaling first, to 8K. Frame, and bump this up more. Noise. I don't think. No, this doesn't have any noise really going on to it. Recover details. Fly through this preview pretty fast. You can see it's enhancing these details, these feather details on the head here. Been like these really fine feathers. You can see a little bit right there. The water droplets are starting to pop out. As I see it here, but like this area here, it looks perfect here. It looks so lifelike. I can see the eye is probably a little bit out of focus the way I shot it, but it's recovered pretty well here. Oh, this fine feather detail right this area too. It just looks so great when you know. I'm also zoomed in. It's not going to be the way it's played out. So you zoom in. It looks really good. Alright, so let's close this. Let's process this through, and then we're going to also slow it down.
Кому нужен большой мозг, если есть такие зубы?
30, 60p, 120p. You can input that into the program, and then you can spit back out, you know, slowed down by 2 or 4 times. I think you can go down to 2,000 times slow motion, which is probably not going to work out in this program, but maybe we'll do that for fun. But it's really, really good, I find, for slowing down like one step up. So if you have 60 frames per second footage, it's pretty good at adding a frame between those to double the frames. Back into the program here, so now we're working with the 8K footage of what I just showed before. This hood merganser flapping its wings, and now we're going to slow it down by 200%, so it's going to be essentially 8K 240 frames a second. And so the output size and I don't know what I'm setting that at. So switch over to Chronos. 70%, yes. And you can see 150% all after 2,000%. And you know 2,000% is terrible. So, generally it didn't. Got it.
Магия побеждена!
Like I have this fox down here, this kind of just trot along. Frame by frame, it's fine. So if you have something like that with slower moving action, you just want to play this weird slow effect to something really slow. I guess you can do 2,000. Definitely just stay realistic. 100%. That's only adding 1 frame between each original frame. So I think we're going to do pretty good here. This is all we need to say.
Create will.
some of the downsides is, first of all, the rendering time. It depends on your computer. So I'd actually start using it's going to vary, and with older hardware, it's going to be a significant bump in time. And the next thing is the experience with working footage color graded, and it's usually stabilized, but if I need a little bit of extra room to stabilize, I'll usually run it through here and then stabilize after this. But anyways, if you are trying to use this footage in Video Enhanced AI from all these little clips that have been timed out,
Кому нужен большой мозг, если есть такие зубы?
It uses the wrong textures, so I've been seeing this program, but like in Sharpen AI or Denoise AI, sometimes it will like put fur where there should be feathers and things like that. So just use the software. It's going to be doing the best it can, but sometimes it's just not going to be the majority of times clips are going to work out great in the software, but you know, there are just a few edge cases where it's just like it doesn't get it right, and that definitely goes for when you're trying to slow down footage. In between those two spread out pieces of information, so extremely useful in different ways, and I really come to appreciate using it. So if you want to try it out yourself, they do offer a 50-day free trial that you can get down in the description below. And while you're down there, you can check out the coupon code I have for 15% off. It's really fun to try out, and it's a good fun to try out your own footage, so highly recommend checking it out.
Серебристые леса снова в безопасности.
Seriously guys, we are going to be talking about AI, Topaz Lab Video Enhanced AI, which is an application that uses artificial intelligence to enhance videos, and we're going to put it to the test. I do want to mention this is not a sponsored video, so we're not going to be pulling any punches. We're even going to compare some things Video Enhanced AI does to the plugins that are out on the market. Control the intro.
Кому нужен большой мозг, если есть такие зубы?
So Topaz Labs Video Enhanced AI is a standalone application allows you to it also allows you and it does all this with a bunch of different AI models, your fancy way of saying AI models. I'm going to be talking about it. Let's just go ahead and use the software. We're going to try out resolution like that and it only can record HD. So what I like to do is upscale this clip to 4K. So it'll match with the 4K shots. Let's go ahead and take a look at the AI model. This is what it's going to do of the video and AI. Now when you first open up the app,
I am under attack.
all these different AI models, and right off the bat, but I'm going to take this last second to guys. And here we're going to see one called the prototype model, and this is where we're probably going to
Beware the Кому нужен большой мозг, если есть такие зубы?
Values based on your clip, what you want to correct. Like if I only want to reduce noise, I would just increase the reduce noise option here. And in the beginning, you may really not know what numbers to dial in. So what they actually recommend is you can select this auto detect feature here. You see the lightning bolt. I'm just going to go ahead and click on that. It's going to auto detect different settings that it recommends for clips. Going down.
Я виртуоз Джаггернот.
I just want to preview this. Button here. What that's going to do is preview about 1 second of our video, a little side-by-side thing. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. Crisper. Again, this is loading, so this will loop eventually when this finishes.
Цель достигнута.
Come down here and click close. Now one thing I do want to mention, when you first download the Video Enhanced AI app and you start previewing various AI models, a lot of times you'll actually have to download that specific AI model. Again, it doesn't have to do this every single time, but it's the first time you use each model. Download.
Серебристые леса снова в безопасности.
Save it in this folder. Then we go ahead and start processing. And that's going to be in processing and rendering out our video and tell us how many frames have been processed. And we can see the original picture and our right and actually zoom in. If I do live that out. Our new AI upscale 4K footage. Here's the original slow motion. Now here's the upscaled 4K clip from Video Enhanced AI. It definitely looks like a matching 4K clip in my opinion. And if we look in at some of the details, we'll see quite a bit more detail on the trees in the background. And if we look down at the trees, we see they have quite a bit more detail.
Кому нужен большой мозг, если есть такие зубы?
The upscale was actually an HD clip that I shot with a Canon 7D all the way back in 2010. You can see some family dog. He thinks he hears a bug flying around, so he's kind of looking around suspiciously. Looking at the original shot, it's a little bit soft, it's out of
Тебе не ямля, Джаггернот.
The city skyline. The buildings in the distance are a bit soft when you zoom in on them at 100%. So what I actually did with this shot was actually export out into 8K, and now we can see the results of that. There's quite a big difference here on the fine details when you zoom in on this. You can see how much softer the original shot looks at 100% versus 8K versus exported. All that softness is now. And we can also see a lot more detail that it brought out with like the satellite dishes and the antennas that are at the very top. So overall, I definitely say I was pretty impressed with the upscaling results that we got from these 3 clips. Now let's do a denoising comparison between video enhanced AI.
Кому нужен большой мозг, если есть такие зубы?
безопасности.
So now let's go ahead and look at the original footage scaled up at 100%. And here's the reduced noise version for Video Enhanced AI. Again, I think this one did a pretty solid job. It didn't handle this shot quite as well because there was just so much noise. Now we can see the results from the video, which is absolutely mind-blowing how well it still removes all the noise from the clip. So overall, I think the results we got from Video Enhanced AI was definitely solid, definitely on par with most denoise. But again, if you have a shot that really has extreme noise on it, slow this down even more. And so we can't use the Proteus AI model. We're going to use an AI model in Chronos. You're going to see the Chronos slow motion version too. So I want to select that one. You can see the drop of the slow motion.
Шаговина на моем мече.
We have our output frames per second. Just look at that on the default what the original clip was. And then we just go ahead and start processing. So now it's going to look at the results. Here's the speed of the original shot. And now here's the clip from Video Enhanced AI slowed down to 100%. So this would be the equivalent of shot. A little bit of kind of that pixel motion tearing occurring above the hood of the Jeep that wasn't apparent on the Video Enhanced AI export. Now this definitely was a challenging shot with all the movement going on, and that pixel smearing is something that is fairly common on shots that are slowed down with Twixtor. The next shot that I tested was a 4K drone shot flying through some snowy trees, and actually slowed this down 1000%. Here's the original shot. Here's the slowed down version of Video Enhanced AI. Now both of these were nearly identical in this case, and they both
Серебристые леса снова в безопасности.
Twixtor did render faster than Video Enhanced AI, especially on 4K footage, but the Twixtor plugin also retails now for $329 pretty steep considering video enhanced AI is motion. We will leave that at 100%. Down here in the output FPS, we can go ahead and 60 frames per second, and that's essentially going to interpret those new frames that it's going to create. And now we can go ahead and click start processing. Now you guys won't be able to see the results of the 60 frame per second version that I exported on this video because the actual frame rate of this tutorial is at 24 frames per second. However, I will say the 60 frames per second version looks stunning. It's heavy artifacts. Here's the slowed down version of that 60 frames per second. Tracks on the front of the roller coaster cart. However, if you guys want to see the actual 60 frames per second that on the blog post, that will be in the description of this video, so you can go check that out. Next is de-interlacing, and I don't know.
Настоящая добродетель.
Here's a shot. As you can see, it removed all some AI in here. And what we're going to use over here for the AI models, we're going to use the Pro AI model, and that's one we're probably going to use 90% of the time. And for the model parameters, I'm just going to go ahead and auto detect that. So we'll go ahead and set those automatically. And we come down here for the output size. This is 4K. Now we go the results on this one were pretty stunning. Now, if we go back to the original clip, kind of scroll through this a little bit, when my buddy Robert here opens the door, I want to pause it here again, and let's now look at the 4K export that's been enhanced. And one of the things that really stood out to me immediately was if you look at the letter that's kind of mounted on the wall in the background, it's amazing how many more details you can actually see on it now from the that aliasing from his shirt, and we can see a lot more detail like in his hair. So this was definitely a pretty impressive result. Now, in some ways, I do think it kind of removes some of the originality of the clip, and sometimes I think it actually kind of looks as if you kind of have an Instagram kind of beauty filter on everything. So that wasn't as appealing to me, and I do think it's important to like check this out and like kind of remaster a video like this because the original video probably.
Ну все, наелся.
This shot did not fare as well as that first one. This is from a short film where my buddy's kind of running around the college campus. No one's running in the stairwell. And if we actually look at the version, you see there's not enough details really on his face on the original footage because it's just so blurry and so low resolution. It really kind of muddies up the features of the face and looks pretty odd. And you can see it's struggling with aliasing on the bricks on the wall. You can see the very beginning stop with that aliasing.
такие зубы?
And the trees, you can tell it's adding in way too much kind of synthetic detail in the background. So in this situation, I would definitely prefer the original shot, even with all of its flaws. Video Enhanced AI is definitely struggling with some of the smaller details and intricacies of this particular clip. Now this last shot,
Худшее еще впереди.
I can't ever unsee that. It actually gets even more scary when you see my mouth move. The guy seems to get confused and looks like my mouth opens to my lower lip. Okay, that's enough of that. Let's cleanse our mental palate now by looking at some old home video footage of some of my dogs. You can see that the shot was pretty compressed. It was also shot with a mini DV camera. And now we can do a much better job. We're using all the agency and compression.
Кому нужен большой мозг, если есть такие зубы?
I rendered that out, and now we can see it's quite pixelated. So then I used video that back up to 4K, and the results were pretty amazing. You can see just how much detail was actually brought back. I was really impressed with things like the hair detail that it brought back. And honestly, I could probably edit this clip into some actual 4K footage that's been shot, and nobody would probably even notice it. And as an Easter egg, I actually did do that with the shots from on camera in this tutorial. I scaled it down to mini DV quality, and then scaled it back up to 4K using Video Enhanced AI. So if you want to go back and look, see if you can find more that I did that on, or leave the time code in the comments. Now hopefully you guys enjoyed this with the Topaz Labs Video Enhanced AI. Guide on this. It's definitely impressive that has its strengths and weaknesses. It definitely isn't going to magically transform these videos into masterpieces. You need to upscale footage from 720p or HD only up to 4K. I'll definitely be using it in the future for slow motion shots and footage. If you guys enjoyed my embarrassing home videos, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Charles.
In this video I'm going to be going over one of the coolest programs that I've used lately, and that's Topaz Labs Video Enhanced AI. And as the name suggests, this is going to be about increasing the quality of your videos, whether that's upscaling to a higher resolution or turning 30 or 60 frames per second to 120, 240 frames per second. And the things like that that really make the videos pop out and look more lifelike. And so those three things are going to be what I'm going to be focusing on. subjects pop out and look more dimensional. So that's where we're going to go into the program here first and take a look. Alright, so this is a long build curlew that I filmed back in December, Monterey Bay. It's got okay sharpness, okay video quality. I shot this with a Canon 100-400, which is not very good at resolving fine feather details. And it's pretty light for what it is.
This way.
Fine-tune, or it's usually popped up no matter what option you choose here. And what that does compared to all the others is you have all these options. And so for this, this was shot in 4K, so we can do an output size of 4K. And I just usually set it to 100% denoise deblock, which means it's not going to do any upscaling. And then from here we can start setting our model parameters. And this of course we do. So I'm just gonna move up a little bit here because I think there's a spot, yeah, where it's kind of looking at me, and this is kind of. So for this, there's not straight out of the original footage. ProRes that I brought it over in, and then I'm going to export it in ProRes from here as well. And details, yep, that's what we're going to do. We want to do some sharpening. Noise is not too much of an issue, so I'm just going to turn that off, and dehaloing is not an issue here. And then this de-blur and anti-aliasing, how much sharpness it's kind of like a multiplier, I guess, of the sharpening and carbon details. Details sharpen should do, and from here we can hit preview and it will play out a little bit of it. And we can also, before we do that, we can choose the number of frames that's going to preview us to do. But it's always a good idea to do preview and see what you can get out of this. So then you'll see it's going frame by frame and updating this preview. You can drag this around to get a better framing. Possible. It's harder to see things. I'll do like 40. And sharpen I would probably even reduce, but auto says 39. Let's just keep it because also kind of hard. Nice improvement. This is what I'd expect to see out of a more expensive lens like my 200 and 400, and this is, you know, this shooting with the 100 and 400 has the lightness and the, you know, for you on the screen here. Another thing you'll notice here as it's running through is that this program does a really good job of getting that separation between the subject at 120 frames per second, or some cameras do 1080p at 240, but you know, you don't get that 4K 240 things of that nature. So it's really good for upscaling video. A couple years ago by now. Filmed it. And the difference is going to be, I'm going to go down here, scale the size to 4K, which I guess I don't have to change it because that's what it's set, but so it's 1080p footage that I'm going to upscale to 4K, so 200%, and then I'm going to frame that I think represents this pretty well. Take that off as well, and this is pointing towards anti-aliasing, which is not really the issue with this, so I'm going to go back to split view here. And so we have, it just shows the original scaled and then the 4K. So let's zoom in here. clearer it is, and like we're not even talking about, you know, 1080p to 1080p and then you get some more details. It's like we get 1080p going to 4K. And they're sharpened and you can actually make them out in this footage. So this looks great. I don't have to do anything else. Second, and this is going to result in being an 8K 240 frames per second piece of footage, which is pretty crazy. So the original And since this is going from 4K to 8K, a lot of computers is probably going to start chugging along, but the Mac Studio is pretty good to me here, so it can fly through this preview pretty fast. You can see the details, these photo details on the head here. And like these really fine feathers. You can see a little bit improvement there. Water droplets are starting to pop out. Overall, a really nice upscaling process here. here, it looks perfect here. It looks so lifelike. But it's recovered pretty well here. Oh, this pine feather detail rate, this area too. It just looks so great.